One push, that's all it took. 26 cars, gone, in under 4 seconds. It was lap 115 of the Jack Link's 500 at Talladega Superspeedway, and Bubba Wallace was leading the race. His number 23 Toyota was exactly where it needed to be, running clean at the front of a 40-car field, traveling at nearly 200 miles per hour. Then Ross Chastain hit him from behind. Wallace's car snapped sideways. The outside wall rushed up to meet him. Cole Custer had nowhere to go, and in the space of a single breath, turn 3 became a junkyard. Blaney, Logano, Larson, Keselowski, Reddick, names that matter in this sport, all of them collected, all of them done, through absolutely no fault of their own. The red flag came out, the crowd went silent, and standing in the middle of all of it once again was Bubba Wallace. This is what happened, this is why it matters, and this is the question nobody in NASCAR can stop asking right now. Is this a car problem? A Chastain problem? Or has Wallace's time at the sport's highest level finally reached its breaking point? Let's start with the race itself, because context matters here. Talladega Superspeedway is a 2.66 mile asphalt circuit in Alabama where speeds regularly push past 200 miles per hour and races are decided in inches. It is a track with its own mythology, a place where the big one is not an accident so much as an inevitability built into the physics of the place. Every year, drivers arrive knowing a massive multi-car wreck is coming. The only question is when and who gets caught in it. For the 2026 edition, NASCAR had introduced a structural change to the race format in an attempt to reduce the maddening fuel conservation strategies that had turned superspeedway racing into a slow-motion parade. The first stage was extended to 98 laps, covering more than half the total race distance. The theory was simple: force teams to use fuel early, break up the stalemate. In practice, it resulted in an opening segment that ran for 85 minutes under green as drivers cautiously raced well below maximum speeds to achieve optimum mileage. Teams adapted, conserved, and waited. The racing in Stage 1 was controlled, calculated, and frankly not the show NASCAR had promised fans. And then Stage 2 opened at full throttle. The pressure that had been building for 98 laps was suddenly released all at once. Drivers were racing 3 and 4 wide. The intensity was, as Kyle Larson described it, just way more. And 10 laps into that sprint, Talladega collected its tribute. Bubba Wallace had led the race on 3 separate occasions going into lap 115. It was also his 300th Cup Series start, a milestone moment at a track that has carried enormous personal weight for him throughout his career. He moved to the middle lane, received a push from Chastain, and the number 23 Toyota immediately became unstable. The car went sideways into the outside safer barrier right in front of Cole Custer, and what began as one driver losing control became a chain reaction that nobody could stop. 26 of 40 cars were collected in the incident. Among those eliminated from contention, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Ty Gibbs, Daniel Suarez, and points leader Tyler Reddick. The red flag came out. The cleanup took 10 minutes. Every driver involved was evaluated and released from the infield care center. After being evaluated, Wallace addressed the Fox Sports broadcast with honesty. "Got wrecked there, unfortunately," he said. "Our Xfinity Toyota Camry was a little unstable getting pushed, but manageable. Maybe that hard of a hit was too much, and so unfortunately, we wiped out a bunch of cars. Got to debrief, figure out how to be better." In a separate exchange with journalist Matt Weaver, Wallace was more direct about who he felt was responsible. "He wrecked me." He was talking about Chastain. Wallace also acknowledged a larger issue. "We've got to figure out how to be pushed better, so I take responsibility on that," he said. "We'll have a good debrief and figure out what we can do to make our Toyotas a little bit better at being pushed and maybe not have that happen." That admission points to something significant. The Toyota instability under push conditions at super speedways is not exclusive to Wallace. In the very same race, Christopher Bell and Eric Jones, both Toyota drivers, suffered similar instability issues. Bell led a race-high 31 laps before finishing 17th. Jones spun on the final laps when contact came from behind. This is a pattern, not an isolated event. Ryan Blaney was measured but pointed in his assessment. "I feel like we all just got pinballing off each other there," he said. "It's not like there's any blame on anybody. It's what this thing is. We see each other. We all just kind of get bumping and banging, and one guy eventually gets turned with the car being as unstable as it is. It definitely stinks to be out early." Blaney also made clear that he wants changes to the car. "I've obviously got my hand up wanting to make a change," he said, while admitting he does not expect anything to happen mid-season. Joey Logano put it as plainly as anyone. "Just we got round bumpers and unstable cars and cars that you're able to pop the bubble real easy and get to each other's bumpers, but when you get there, you've got to be careful because they're not stable," he said. "It's like pushing two basketballs against each other. It's not going to push straight." His broader frustration with the format was equally blunt. "What do you want? Save fuel or crash? Pick one. That's what it feels like right now." The NASCAR fan base has been saying the same thing. The sentiment circulating across social media and fan communities after Talladega was unified. The next-gen car is broken at superspeedways. The combination of extreme aerodynamic dependency, round bumpers that don't align cleanly, and the instability created when one car pushes another has produced a formula where even the best drivers in the world cannot fully control the outcome. Blaney said he hopes testing at Speed Weeks in January can produce solutions, but that is months away, and the frustration is real and immediate. Now let's talk about who won, because Carson Hocevar deserves his moment. The 23-year-old from Portage, Michigan, driving the number 77 Spire Motorsports Chevrolet, earned his first Career Cup Series victory on his 91st start, holding off Chris Biescher's number 17 Ford by just 0.114 seconds at the line. He had led 19 of the final 37 laps and survived 3 late race restarts to take the win. A push from Alex Bowman's number 48 Chevrolet gave him the momentum he needed on the final lap. The celebration that followed was unlike anything Talladega had seen in a long time. Hocevar sat on the windowsill of his moving car, waving to the crowd with one arm while steering with the other hand, before driving nose first into the outside wall for a burnout and climbing onto the roof. NASCAR CEO Steve O'Donnell confirmed there would be no penalty. "I'm good with it," he said. "He looked like Shamu hanging out the window," said co-owner Jeff Dickerson. "I'm so thankful," Hocevar said. "This is the biggest dream I've ever thought of. Hopefully my grandfather is watching. My grandmother died last year, and I'm just so thankful I can give my grandfather a trophy now." Biescher finished second, Bowman third, Chase Elliott fourth, and Zane Smith fifth. Despite the crash, Tyler Reddick recovered from his damage to finish 14th and maintained his commanding championship lead of 110 points over Denny Hamlin, one of his own team co-owners at 23X1 Racing. That dynamic inside 23XY Racing is worth pausing on. Reddick announced a multi-year contract extension with the team before the race even started. He has won 5 races in the first portion of the 2026 season and leads the championship. Wallace, meanwhile, has recorded 2 DNFs in 5 races and is struggling at the very track type, superspeedways, where the Toyota platform appears most vulnerable. The gap between their trajectories right now is significant. Wallace's history at Talladega specifically runs deep and complicated. This is the same track where the noose incident in 2020 became a national story and defined much of how the broader public came to understand his presence in the sport. His relationship with NASCAR's establishment has never been simple. In 2022, following an on-track incident with Kyle Larson at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, NASCAR suspended him for 1 race, an extraordinarily rare penalty for a driver, after determining the contact was intentional. 23XY Racing did not appeal the decision. The road ahead runs through Texas Motor Speedway on May 3rd, a 1.5-mile oval near Fort Worth where handling and mechanical grip replace the aerodynamic chaos of superspeedways. Joey Logano is the defending winner. For Wallace, it represents a chance to reset on a track that rewards the kind of driving he can control. The question of whether NASCAR or Toyota will address the superspeedway instability before the next plate race remains open. Blaney does not think changes are coming in season. The drivers who lost cars on lap 115 are left to absorb that reality. What Talladega 2026 leaves behind is a race that produced a first-time winner, a structural conversation about the next-gen car, and more unresolved questions about where Bubba Wallace goes from here inside a team that is simultaneously performing at its highest level and watching its second driver struggle to find his footing.